Alrighty. Alright. Should be good to go. This week on State of the Nerd Union, Encanto's song about Bruno has dethroned Frozen's Let It Go as top streamed Disney song. And, actually, what's up, Taryn? I messed that intro up, so we're going to try that again. This week on State and Nerd Union, Encanto's song about Bruno has dethroned Frozen's Let It Go as top streamed Disney song and hits the Billboard top 5 songs at number 4. Crypto and NFTs are ruining everything, particularly gaming, and there's more. We'll talk about it. And lastly, we'll discuss an important House bill that would disrupt targeted social media ad campaigns. All that and more starting now. All right. Hey, nerds. Welcome to the State of the Nerd Union live show. This is our live show. So everything's going on brand spanking new. Everything we're talking about that's happened throughout the weekend or happened today, you're getting it fresh live here on the State of Nerd Union live show. There will be some exciting changes that I'll talk about later in the show, but Mondays are not going anywhere. Nothing's happening to Monday nights, so that's still going to be a live show. You can see us here on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, so whichever streaming platform you prefer. You can also comment on either one of those platforms, and I'll respond to you throughout the show and try to answer those questions. Or just, if you got a funny, witty retort, I'll also try to throw that up on the screen, because we like that. Cool. And I'm your host, Commander Ship. Running it solo tonight. We've got Jerry and Dumax off doing different things, so and it's nice. I've been able to rotate, having different nights off. I wasn't on the Microsoft Activision deal show. Jerry and Steve handled that, so it's nice that we're able to rotate out a little bit. Cool. So me and your let's take it again. Sure. All right, but we're going to start the show with what we call our quick hits. So we're going to talk about quick hits. These are just like quick short bites of the news. And one that's a little surprising is Eternals is the top streamed Disney Plus or Marvel MCU show. MCU, show or movie. Eternals has beaten Falcon and Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, WandaVision, as far as first 5 days streamed when it was available. So that's quite impressive. There could be a couple things that are going on there. One, the timing of which Eternals came out was in November. There might have been a lot of people that were apprehensive to go to the theater at that time. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that theory because everyone went out for Spider-Man. So I think it was a word of mouth thing. Once the critic reviews came out and the audience reaction was middling, right? It's not that it was bad. It's just that it was not as strong as even Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi had a lot better word of mouth about going out to see it than Eternals did. So a lot of people weren't going to risk going to the theater to see that. As opposed to Spider-Man, everyone has had rave reviews for that. So people were taking the risk to go out and see it. But conversely, now that it's on streaming and people can take a chance on it, seems like people have really enjoyed it. But again, that's just numbers reported by Samba TV. They handle internet TV as far as what people are picking on their smart TVs. So it's not conclusive. There could also be some more places it was streamed that we just don't know, don't have information or data on. But that seems to be a strong sign of people at least. 2 million is quite a bit for people to not like it. And compared and beating everything else, that's pretty solid. All right, Encanto, one of the top streamed Disney songs of all time since we've been in the streaming era, and particularly in Billboard, It is ranked 4th on the Billboard Top 100 hits right now. So it joined some illustrious company because even Let It Go only got up to 5. So this is getting into a 4th spot. Is pretty amazing. So again, join some nice company like P.O. Bryson and Regina Bell's Whole New World from Aladdin, which hit number 1 in 1993. Vanessa Williams' Colors of the Wind with Pocahontas hit the 4th spot in 1995. Elton John's Can You Feel the Love Tonight from The Lion King also hit number 4 in 1994. So there was a successive 3-year period there where Disney songs just like bam, bam, bam. The couple or whoever the artist was that did the post song. And when I mean the post song, the actual soundtrack song, because there's a difference in the one that's used in the movie and the one that's used outside of the movie. So particularly those hit really well. As far as I understand, we didn't get one like that for Encanto. I know on like Moana we had some other versions, like you had different people jump in. But even just Frozen 2 had other people come in and sing a cover of it. I don't think we've had that for Encanto. Not that we really need it. Like that version is great. So just we can roll with that. I think we'll be good. But kudos, Encanto. It is catchy. It's like you could move to it, you can dance. It's good. It's good. I'm not even mad. We have, so that's all for quick hits. We're gonna move to For the Cinephiles and Knives Out 2, Rian Johnson's mystery movie with starring Daniel Craig as LeBlanc. Is getting a sequel. Netflix bought both sequels, Knives Out 2, Knives Out 3, and we know that it's going to be released in the fall. That's what's been confirmed, but we don't have an exact release date. And it will be released simultaneously in theaters and Netflix, though the report, how Netflix has done that in the past, has been like a 2-week window in the theaters and then on Netflix. So it may, even though they say simultaneously, that might be what they mean and not at the exact same time. So if I had the spitball or guess, I think that's what they mean. Two Caterpillars was sung by the same. Two Caterpillars. Taryn, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Two Caterpillars. Is that a reference I'm supposed to know? Is that an autocorrect? Something happened there? You let me know. Two Caterpillars. All right. And more Disney news. And Disney seems to be racking up. Moana's animated series, which got announced at the Disney shareholders meeting in 2020, has found a new director for the project. He previously worked on Moana before, has a lot of deep ties to his Samoan roots, and he talks about that. So this is David Derrick, and he's been an animation artist for a considerably long time, but talked about working on Moana, how much he loved him to go back to his family roots and working in that. So it just makes sense tabbing him to be the director for this. Like that's a no-brainer. In his statement, he says, working on Moana was a gift personally and professionally. The film Moana caught and shared the spirit of Polynesia with the world. I am honored to continue her story and to celebrate the rich and beautiful cultures of the Pacific Islands. So I'm really excited. I think that's going to be good. Go ahead, Derek. Go ahead. He's got two first names. David is his first name. Sorry. It's like David Derrick. Go ahead, David. I like it. So that's all we got for Cinephiles. But if you want more movie news, you can check it out tomorrow night. Commander Ship Show will be at 8 p.m. Central, where I'll be talking more movies. There's plenty of other castings and announcements that came out. Plus, we got to talk about the Batman potentially being 3 hours long? Question mark? That could be a good thing or a bad thing. Movies are getting incredibly long. Movies are getting, it's getting wild. Cool. Okay, thank you. So to what Taryn was saying, real quick, is that Two Caterpillars, Dos Aguaritas, the song about Abuela and Encanto, is sung in Spanish during the movie and then in English by Colombian singer Sebastian Yatra. Okay. So, I think so. Actually, there was one thing I didn't say was that, Lin-Manuel Miranda did not expect the Bruno song to be the one that would, like, if there was one they thought was going to pop off, they didn't think it was going to be that one. So I wonder, usually the song that gets covered in the credits or like is the like soundtrack track. It usually ends up being like Into the Unknown. You got your Let It Go. It's got 2 versions. Moana's got different versions of You're Welcome and How Far I'll Go. Alicia Cara did that one. How Far I'll Go. So yeah, I wonder if that's it. I wonder if that's why Bruno didn't get a different group cover of it as a result. Again, not saying that it needs it. It'd be cool. And also, thank you for that correction, Darren. Appreciate it. Ow. All right, we're at it's game time. It is game time. So let's talk about now. It might seem a little weird for me to have the characters of Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run up here, but the studio was it Aardman Animation that does Wallace and Gromit are making an open world game, but it will not feature these characters. They are very clear that they want to do a new IP. So the job listings on the website asking for animators and video game creators that can come in and help them knock out a new IP for this open world environment, but very much sticking to their story-driven roots and their animation. That will still continue to be a huge piece, even though you build explore in this world. They're still really sticking to a story focused in this game. So no word on what it's exactly going to be about, but just very, very, very interesting development over at Aardman Animation Studios. Boop, boop, boop. Next up, if you like playing the game Pandemic, obviously if you want to play the board game, you can definitely do that. During the pandemic, a lot of people probably played this online version of it. Well, if you tried to use it on Steam in the last week, if you tried to use it in the last week or even last night, you were not able to. It had been delisted. And even if you try to play the mobile version, maybe on your iPad or on your phone, that had also been delisted. A statement from Asmodee Games, one of the biggest game producers in the entire world, said simply, and this is an update from PC Gamer because PC Gamer reported on this earlier last week, but we had no idea why it was delisted and had no information. But Asmodee reached out to them, gave a full statement saying that simply the app is too old. They don't feel it represents their quality as far as recent digital releases they've had of their board games, and they want to pull it down and put a better version out there to represent the game. Now, I had not been able to play that, so I can't confirm whether that version was very buggy or not very good. But yeah, kudos on them for handling a problem, tackling that, and getting it knocked out. Probably a little jarring for the community of folks that like to play that though. So it's not great, but hey, shout out Asmodee for considering how many times we get incomplete games and sent out at launch. This obviously was workable at one point, and I just said it doesn't match your standards. So kudos. I want to applaud when a company is actually doing that and standing to that. All right. This one's a little complicated, so I'm really excited for this game. Redfall is coming from Bethesda and follows a group of powered individuals that are in a Massachusetts town, or particularly on an island on the coast of the state of Massachusetts. And excuse me, they are attempting to fight off vampires that are trying to overrun the town / island. This comes from. So there's a podcast group, Defining Duke. So the hosts over there, Mr. Matty Plays and Lord Cognito, have done some pretty good drops over there. So if they get some sneak peeks and early information, they've been a pretty good source for that. So they are putting a grain of salt of this one, that it's coming from a source they don't normally get these kind of drops from. This is someone that they've gotten different industry information from, but not necessarily that kind of leak like this. So as you'll know, Stalkers 2 had been delayed as well. That's what spurred the conversation, and Redfall was included in that same breath, which we do know last week Stalkers 2 was confirmed to be delayed. So this could be another Xbox exclusive that's going to be a little further down the track before anyone's able to play it. So again, really, it's not confirmed, and I'm sure if we get another source is able to back that up, maybe that will give us enough information. Maybe it'll feel good being able to confirm that, but just take that with a grain of salt. And I appreciate that. Hey, I'm going to throw another piece of kudos. I appreciate that the podcast hosts are being very clear about where their information was coming from. There's been so many sites just pushing out some bogus articles that just don't They just really don't have their sourcing well. So I appreciate them giving this information. So even as I'm talking to you, I can be very honest about what I do and don't know. All right. So in the show title, I put NFTs Are Terrible. And this is just one story. This is just one of two tonight. I could have picked more. To bring up a problem. And me and the team are doing some research. Me, Kyle, and Trevor were pouring over some videos this week and preparing ourselves. Well, not even for the news topics I'm about to give you, but specifically because I thought we had a grasp on what NFTs were. I'd be completely honest. I thought I had a really good grasp. And if you kind of track the money in it more things become a red flag. So I'm teasing a story that we're going to be doing soon where we'll break down. There's already a really great breakdown that I'll link to as well that people should go watch. It is long. It's 2 hours long. I understand if you don't want to go through that. I'm hoping to interview the creator of that video and bring them into our presentation on this because it really needs to be talked about. So we'll be doing some updates. You've heard us talk on the show in the text section about NFTs quite a bit as far as like some sales and things that have happened. But this is starting to, it's taking the cake, and there's some huge systemic problems that I don't think can be fixed. Would like to be wrong, but I don't think it can be fixed. And there's one term that if I use it, people will be upset, but it's pretty accurate. All right, so let's get back to Outerverse. So the creators of Outerverse, so this is the production studio Freedom Games and developer. I don't know if they want you to say it like that. I'm just going to say TBJBU2, as that's rough. Announced in a joint statement that they don't use NFTs in any of their games, and anyone attempting to do so is definitely scamming you. So various Outerverse assets and graphics have been posed as actual in-game items or DLC, but they were not developed by the publisher in any capacity, nor have any of them delivered on those promises to give the actual in-game content to Outerverse. So I'm glad the creators have come out very strong to be like, that's not something that we do. If you like NFT, that's on you, but we don't involve in that. There's nothing we can do if you give your money to. There's nothing we can do if you give your money towards that. So we are. I really feel for anyone that's gotten caught up in that and given money out to people scamming them on NFTs. And again, as we get more and more of these, again, I'm not even really trying to crap on the tech either. So when we do our presentation, we'll be very clear that like there's the potential benefits that people have wanted to pull out of it. I can definitely I'm amenable to and I can understand, but I continue to see stories like this more often than not, and I don't think it's some hit piece from people trying to tank the technology. I think there's some legitimate ethical concerns that need to be addressed, and this Wild Wild West that's getting people hurt from scams. It's not emboldening it. It's not engendering it to me. So let's see. Was it Grade E Feeds? VAR FYI. Not sure what's going. Yeah. VAR FYI, not sure what you're saying there. For your information, I get that, but VAR, yeah. If you want to let me know in a follow-up comment what you're talking about there. Lindy Fitness says, I heard scams. They're talking about crypto. Yeah, just there's another one we're going to talk about. Not technically a scam, but it is part of the problematic piece with the tech, with how people are implementing it, how people are using it. So Outerverse gamers that love that, just be careful. Watch out for what you're doing. Cool. This is nuts. Now, normally, when it comes to Nintendo and their lawyers and anyone trying to make their own Nintendo ROM, or you think about the Samus or Metroid 2, the way players have made better versions of that are much more enjoyable than the original game were, and Nintendo does cease and desists on that all the time. Smash Brother community getting hit with different bans on the tech they've used to be able to play across the internet with one another. You just kind of go down a laundry list, and I usually side on the side of the players. I'm like, that seems like fair use to me. Seems like you're being over aggressive, or even if it's not fair use, it's like Nintendo. I don't know that the PR or the protection of the asset that you're trying to go for is really outweighing the PR hit you're taking by being so aggressive. That said, I gotta side with Nintendo on this one. So if you have no idea what's going on, Nintendo shut down a Pokemon first-person shooter made by Reddit user Dragon Game Dev 2. And the idea was basically that you go run around the world of Pokemon with an AK-47 and just knock out as many Pokemon that might come up to you. Just murk them. And with blood effects and so on and so forth. And no. And I'm not, and maybe the game is fun. I don't know. I didn't get to play it. It's been struck pretty much everywhere. Even videos of it have been struck pretty regularly. Anyone trying to re-put it up on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. Although it's still existing in some threads on Reddit, so you could potentially still find it down that way, or potentially get a version of it. But I feel like there's something that has to be said, and I feel like as much as people might be upset at Nintendo for being a kids company that's focused on the children first, but that should be obvious. This is for the children, and giving someone a gun to shoot Pokemon in the face is probably not how they want their brand associated or seen. So I get it. Nintendo's heavy-handed. I'm with you most of, like 99% of the time, but this is the 1%. This is the one time I'm like, I can't get behind this. And I'm not even saying like it's kind of you see some of the videos, it's kind of hilarious, but like also kids, children. And I know you're probably like, with children playing GTA, I know, but Pokemon really has a kid association. Like there's literally 2 games that came out on the Switch, Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, which are the most stripped down, back to basics version of Pokemon that feels kind of in line with the Pokemon Go experience version, like, right? You just think about the offshoots that are like, I don't want to say less serious, but just like definitely aimed at children. And you said, but I'm going to put a gun in that. Nah. Again, yeah, Terran and the Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of hit me weird seeing Pokemon getting shot. Which, you think about the in-game logic of how much damage they throw at one another, and the Pokemon just faint. I get it. You're kind of like, how are they not murdering each other left and right? But you know what? This is the reality that the Pokemon Company and Nintendo had developed and put together. So just come on, people. Come on. I can't get behind this one. I can't do it. I can't get behind this one. All right. So that is it for this is transitioning us into Check the Tech, but it is still a game time segment. And I'm gonna really be interested to follow this one. So we reported about a month and a half ago. I wish I could have pulled up the Apple source's name who brought that. It's Mark Walverhold. I'm probably messing his last name up, but he's usually been a solid source for Apple drops of like, hey, the iPhone 12 is coming out, iPhone 13, and it's going to have this kind of spec, and this is what we expect it to be, all aluminum, but things like that. Really good scoop guy. We reported back about the Apple VR, and that given how pricey Apple's products have been, I was going to be surprised if it would have been in the range of current VR tech, like with the Valve Index being around that $1,500 mark, and all the way down to like the Oculus Quest being at $299, PSVR 2 probably going to be somewhere in the middle, and different ones that are in that range of headsets. So, but I was just like, I don't know if it's going to be any less than that. And would it just be like a developer option anyway? It'd just be something for developers to play with. So this is interesting. Apple is poaching Xbox engineers. Now I need to be clear, not Microsoft engineers. I know Microsoft owns Xbox, and then you can think about PC Apple debate all the time, but that's no, not Microsoft engineers. Xbox engineers specifically All right. And we throughout gaming history, multiple times when you were able to poach a lead designer from a studio and bring them into your fold, it is usually a pretty big sign that you're getting ready to release something of your own. So this is not a confirmation. This is not saying Apple's making a console. And it could just be for VR. It could be that Apple is just going to make a VR headset that happens to have games on it, and they want Xbox insight onto that. But here's the other piece. Why would you pick Xbox developers and engineers for VR when you should go to, Oculus, HTC, Lenovo, Samsung, Google, all have more VR experience than Xbox does. Now, Microsoft with the Lenovo partnership, Windows Mixed Reality, has definitely had some VR experience. So it is possible. I don't know who the people were specifically that got hired, so I couldn't look at their background and know if they had a background in VR before they did Xbox or just didn't have that relationship yet. So that is totally possible. But my gut inclination is this is about Apple's VR headset, not that Apple's making a console, but it remains to be seen. So yes, just because that has been a common tactic in the console wars. You think about Sony splitting from Nintendo, pulling some Nintendo employees over, just kind of go down the list. When Microsoft was forming, they pulled people from various game companies, and a lot of people that were within Microsoft itself, but they still pulled some different assets. So it is usually a harbinger of things to come, either good or bad. I think this could be really cool. Now, and y'all know I'm not the biggest Apple fan, but I have raved about the M1 chip, and I think about the possibilities of that in a VR headset are very, very exciting. And you think about consoles already being a dedicated, this is all we wanted to do. Think about programming an Apple M1 chip to just play games. Sorry, I can't even get my words together. If you've seen with it the M1 Max, I forget what the second one's called. If you've seen what those can do so far, and think about what I just told you, if you love those, you know what they can do so far, which is just an impressive amount of power without heavy graphics card usage. I just have to admit, that is an enticing idea. That means an Apple branded console out the gate could probably become very competitive with the Series X and PS5, or blow them out of the water. That could, because again, not having to focus on computing and just being a game console, it's very exciting, very exciting. So again, this is not me saying it's going to happen. I'm just giving you the indicators that that's a pretty big deal when you're snagging engineers from another video game company. You don't just do that because if you wanted to do that, you could just get them. If it was for computing, you would have went to different departments to get that. That's just okay. Yeah, we're gonna leave it there. Hopefully, I haven't beat the dead horse. Hopefully, that all tracks and makes sense. So, I'm a little excited. Can you tell? I'm a little excited. All right. Next up, so we're in the check the tech segment now. And we've been in it for a little bit talking with Apple, but this has been misreported a little bit, and it was hard to determine who this actually affects. But as far as I've been able to understand, so if you currently use Google products like Google Sheets, Google Docs and stuff like that, this doesn't really apply to you if you have a free Google account. So you signed up for Google, you have a Google Gmail, and you use the products that are on that and use it for free. This doesn't necessarily apply to you. So if you're a nonprofit, you get discounted services on this G Suite enterprise services. This also doesn't apply to you. So as far as I can tell, it seems that this is about a tier of G Suite enterprises that is now called Google Workspaces. And specifically, if you're a small business owner and you've been using like multiple email addresses under the same .com and things like that, it seems like this will apply to you. That free version that you've been using, you'll have to pay for a paid plan of some type and pay per employee for the email address. This is honestly not surprising. It's honestly not surprising that they're doing that, but it seems, again, if you like using Google Docs and Sheets, this isn't really going to affect you. If you use it for free, it's not really going to affect you. It seems like it's good. So it is very. I don't know the numbers on this yet, though, so I don't know if this is like a wide range of small business owners that this applies to. Now that would be interesting. If there's like millions of people that are in this category, yeah, that wouldn't be too great. It wouldn't be too good. So I'm gonna follow up on this and get more information. But starting July 31st, if you're using that free tier on G Suite and you're in that small business class, you'll no longer be able to use it. Hey, what's up, Jay? Howdy, cousin. Good to see you. If you are using that, you have until July 31st to get that figured out. Google will opt you into a tier, but they won't start charging you until you've confirmed it. So no worries about getting charged for stuff that you didn't want. Cool. All right. What is next? So here's our second crypto story of the day. I said I could have picked so many more. So this is another crypto group called Spice. This is the Spice DAO, DAO. And for those that don't know what a DAO is, that is that's a complicated explanation. But they have raised funds. They spent 2.6 million to get the original concept art and the rights to Dvorsky's Dune. So Dune is a very specific, or this very specific version of Dune was going to be wild, 10 hours long, very, very crazy. And I honestly really would have liked to see what it was going to be. So they have teased that they were going to do an animated series based off these concept arts. One small problem though, just because you buy someone's concept art doesn't mean you have the right to make the property it was based on. I could go buy someone's Star Trek concept art. That doesn't mean I have the right to make a Star Trek show or make Star Trek movie or so on and so forth. So very much the same problem. Yeah, very much the same problem here. Now, to be fair to the DAO or to the Spice group, as they call themselves, they were aware of that, so they weren't trying to mislead anyone. At least as far as I can read and tell on their offerings. This is very much a Dune fan group that just really wants to do something within the property. But how they're going to move forward with this, even having the concept arts, I'm not exactly sure. So that's going to be interesting to see. Let's see. We have a Jerry. Lenny Pennant says, looks like a Kit Kat bar. It does look like a Kit Kat bar. Jerry said, Jerry, why are you posting that on in the public? You know where the link is. You know where the link is. That's all I'm gonna say. You got me. I'm live on here trying to talk to the people, trying to give them the news. You know where the link is. Where the link always is. Da-da-da-da. All right. What else what we got coming up next? Oh gosh, sorry. I said 2 NFT stores. There are free crypto NFT stores. Walmart is considering offering its own NFTs, its own digital objects, and yeah, no. I really wish I could break down. You know what? Here's what I'll say. If people are using a digital currency only to cash it out in U.S. currency or wherever they might live at, I think that says a lot about the currency that you're purporting that has value, right? And I'm not saying it doesn't have value because you're trying to equate it to like U.S. currency or so on and so forth. That's not necessarily what I mean. But if the only way people are making money is that someone else comes in later and buys at a higher price, that is functionally a Ponzi scheme. Yeah, that's a problem. I hate to simplify it like that, but it really, as I was running, and again, I'll share the link to this video, but as we dive into it and get ready to do our reporting on it, I struggled. I was trying to find a different word to use. I was like, because I feel like if I say that, people were going to blow it off and be like, no, there's no way that many people will be involved in something. But the money, when I thought about it in that sense, I'm like, that's what it's doing. You're just shifting the money around. You need someone else to come in at a higher point so that you can get out from under what you paid for to get into the service. That's literally you're bringing in other investors that are propping you up so that you'll have an exit strategy, and they'll be saddled with the higher amount they paid for that item. So not sure how that's not clicking for people, but we're gonna break it down and hope that something sticks in people's brains on NFTs. I know it's lucrative. I know it seems like you're like, I gotta get in. No. All right, we're gonna take a quick pause because Jerry is here.
Hey.
Hold on one moment. I need to put on headphones.
No, you're good, man. Had to put these kids to sleep first. In like the putting them to bed way, not the Mortal Kombat kind of way.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier in the show, though, Kyle. I don't know if it's Kyle. Yeah, I think Kyle, one of our co-hosts on Red Shirt Rejects, and our CEO of the illustrious Nerd Union, sent me a long 2-hour video on NFTs. It's solid. This is a great explanation, but I walked away from it. I'm like, this is bad. This is very bad. So I'm hearing more and more companies trying to get in on it, and I'm like, but they're about to pump their money into a black hole, and I think it's going to hurt a lot of people. And it's got all the hallmarks of a Ponzi scheme.
I mean, it's also the thing that GameStop is trying to do with their content apparently now. Like, they have a legitimate GameStop NFT site.
Of course GameStop would. Yeah. I mean, GameStop stonks. GameStop stonks.
I do know a lot of people who made a ton of money on that, so.
Man, I'm just saying, like, that doesn't. But, hold on, let me guess. Let me get a sized. I wasn't ready for another person. I was boxed in.
Hey, I was just trying to help you out, man.
Well, we got was it Jerry Maynard Mortal Kombating his kids to sleep? Was it Lenny Finney said 4-time winner of the Pokemon League, Jerry?
I mean, that's true. It's about to be 5 starting this weekend. I'm going to pick up that Pokemon Legends Arceus, and y'all can see me get murdered by Pokemon on it this weekend.
Is that this week?
Yeah, I'm going to stream it.
Oh, man. I'm so behind.
It's cool.
I was like, man, I just started Deathloop. Someone was like,
ooh, Deathloop. Really? I want to play that.
I'm like, hey, I was busy. And to my shame, and this will probably shock everyone, but especially my college friends, you know what I still have not played the campaign of?
No! How have you not? I mean, I hadn't played it either, but like, it's you.
I know.
You gotta finish the fight, man.
I know. Speaking of which, we tried to do that, and then Halo Reach crapped out. There's a bug. I remember when I was like,
yeah,
like I want to finish this, but I don't want people to suffer with me trying to get past this level because I literally can't get past the ships at this spot. Like, that's not even. Anyway, let's finish out. Let's finish out the deck.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's not working.
Interesting.
I done messed up the whole system.
No, you're good. There we go. All right. Instagram is testing out a new subscription service. This is very much like if you're a Twitter user and you use Twitter Blue, when you think about any kind of OnlyFans or any kind of subscription, Patreon, thing like that for your content that you're doing. But again, this will be tied into the social media network. So, or even if you stream games on Facebook, people can give you likes and things that are paid likes and things like that to help pay for your pay for your time and your content that you're creating there. So this will let people put some of their stories and reels and videos that they drop on Instagram, not necessarily behind a paywall, but just like basically put a subscription for people to get extra access or extra content that you might generate as an Instagram user. And I think especially as Instagram as a platform is getting older, and when people hear that, I don't mean older as far as in like a person's age on Instagram, but specifically any social media program that gets older does mean that the viral hits that you would have gotten for the same photo is not going to be the same in the next couple of years. It's already been vastly different from when the app launched. So a way for content creators to have more curated interactions with their community is welcomed and is a very big deal because that can help people as this transition happens really make a community in a knit bubble, if they're not necessarily bubble, but let's be more closer knit, and then they can survive as these shifts happen across the social media landscape.
Yeah, the social media landscape is just really, it's in an interesting place with what companies are trying to push what direction and all of that. And it honestly is just people trying to follow the latest trend of whoever came out with a new thing. So like right now, a lot of them are pushing into short content because TikTok got popular. And so now you see YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and Instagram basically are the same thing. But yeah, you see them trying to push into the shorts direction and they're like, hey, we'll pay you money to do shorts.
Yeah. And I think that's a big reason TikTok blew up as quick as it did is that it reminded a lot of people of Vines. I think that was a natural appeal to it at the beginning, was like, even though, you had the minute cap at first, now it's up to 3 minutes, but and now you can do lives. But I think that minute cap like forced some creativity into like, I gotta get into this, this amount of time. How would I do this? Or how would I do a series of things if I did it in these short amount of times? Or the way videos loop. I've seen so many people just be very creative how they end it, and not so that it feels like it flows into the, like you don't really know where it stopped and started.
Yeah, so it like seems like it's all one thing. You like don't realize you've watched it through like 5 times. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. So yeah. What's next? Twitter. I mean, Twitter can still be a cesspool, so this is not absolving them of that. But it feels like I've been giving credit to companies when they've been doing good. So I want to give some credit here. Twitter has rolled out a misinformation flag tool. It's already been rolled out in South Korea, Australia, and the US, and it's getting ready to move out to Brazil, the Philippines, and sorry, folks, my notes got off, and Spain. With obviously, as it goes well there, they'll expand out to more and more markets. So there's already the AI algorithms that run through and try to fact check tweets as they come out. But the user interface before would just let you could flag an issue, but it wasn't specific. It wasn't really tied to the fact of like, oh, we're not saying necessarily this person's done something wrong per se, but just like, but that fact or what they're trying to post as a fact that's not true. That's problematic. And this new user assisted tool lets people get a lot more specific about what the problem is, as opposed to other flagging tools that you have for like actual abuses and things that might happen on the platform. So it's not that it's kind of separated those out. And apparently it's done really well. Ran really well as far as like what things have come out so far. Links are definitely a thing, and AI would not necessarily know that, as a person has clicked into it and they get to the site and you're like, oh, that's bogus. But the AI is not going to know that. AI is going to pretty much monitor Twitter. That's its job as far as what Twitter is implemented, and not go past that. So a user that's clicked on a link that someone submitted and you're like, you can now flag that way, give you opportunity to flag the link and show it as problematic. So what do you think?
I don't know. I've seen it on my Twitter feed lately with just random stuff where it's been like it'll say things like somebody's like a fake page or something like that. And like, I don't know what I did to trigger it start doing that. I remember I clicked on something that popped up on my Twitter page one day that was asking me like, hey, would you like us to notify you when pages are fakes or scams? I'm like, yeah, sure. That sounds great. Like, that's a great feature. Why would I not want that? And now it just like, instead of it being some abrupt thing, it if I see like someone's normal Twitter post, that's what it is on like just the news feed of things going on, it'll say like in like this gray text above it that's what's going on. And I'm like, this is really useful. This is like really easy to like not like have to. Sorry, it's more useful to not have to feel like I need to decipher some random thing that I saw in a news story. Now I'm like, oh, I don't even have to pay attention to that. Like that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hoping more, and a lot of sites have posted out. You're talking about whether it's true or false. Like I've seen that on Facebook quite a bit. Someone posts a fallacious link. It does make me wonder where people are operating at now, if they feel like they're getting purged out of these other spaces. So that's my longer term thought of that. But if anything helps the immediate interactions between people, great.
Yep. Great. Fantastic. And maybe people can learn how to talk on the internet, but that's me being overly optimistic.
What?
I know. I have big dreams in life.
This next one, so that's the end of Check the Tech, although the next two things we talk about will be tech related, but they're our main topics for tonight. I do want to put out a content warning for suicide in this next topic. So we've got two that we're going to talk about, but this first one definitely doing on suicide. And it's something that Meta, that previously Facebook, and the parent company of Instagram have been under hot water for, as far as how their products are interacted, how children or younger people interact with their apps. And even though their terms and service says that you're supposed to be 13 years or older, the lawsuit that we're going to talk about is specifically pushing back on that the authentication for that is laughable. It's like if you go to a site that asks you like, hey, this thing's selling Budweiser, or it's going to be talking about beer. Are you 18 and up? Of course, you could just put in a date and stuff like that. I remember, if you ever go, something that's been interesting that's happened. I was talking to some friends that have been on dating profiles, and you'll notice a string of people that have to put a different age in their profile. And what do I mean by that? Because if it's pulling from your social media platform and you put in the wrong age just so you could get onto that platform, usually you can't go back and change that. So your dating profile says that you're ages that are, a variety of different ages. You're like, crap, I'm not that young. Oh crap, I'm not that old. Right. I'm like, okay, but you're the one that did that on your profile. That's
yourself.
Yeah. So, and I feel like that get into a more complicated conversation. We're gonna leave that one right there where it's at. But so the Tammy Rodriguez, she's the mother to 11-year-old Selena Rodriguez, states that her daughter was addicted to a variety of social media platforms, but particularly Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. Now you may be wondering, like, is this at least as far as I can tell, this is not necessarily like absentee parenting or anything like that. I know there is a rash of parenting that just wants kids to, or wants particular agencies or authorities to just handle their kids' interactions. That does not sound like this is the case. It sounds like the mother was very active of like, my daughter is not handling these well. I need to try to take them away from her. But even doing so, her daughter would find other ways to get access to these apps on other platforms, or even if she took her phone away, she'd find another way to log in, borrow a friend's phone, different things like that. So it sounds like this was like a long-standing process and a lot of mental health issues that were going alongside of it. But unfortunately, Selena took her life in part to a lot of the peer pressure she was getting, probably a lot of the negative messaging and negativity that she was experiencing online. So Tammy Rodriguez's lawsuit is basically trying to suss that out, and particularly the age verification piece of like, you're not doing a good enough job verifying the ages of the people that are on this. So she's 11. She was 11 at the time, but she had been on it for a couple of years. So at least from what I could see in the article, it didn't say exactly when she started, but if it had been a couple of years, it might mean as early as 9 or 10 on these. And the starting age is supposed to be 13, people.
Yeah.
13.
But that makes sense that it would be like, so like logical me is like, yeah, it makes sense because you need to be at a certain like level of like intellectual maturity and development to be able to like filter out the stupid. But if you're just circumventing that by putting a fake age.
Yeah. But again, but on top of that, like, there's a lot, the longer conversation, and one way I could at least pause it today. We don't have to spend like, have you been in the Facebook neighborhood groups at all? Have you seen those kind of popping up on Facebook? It's kind of a replacement for groups in a way.
No, I'd heard they were doing something about that, but I haven't seen it anywhere yet.
I mean, and some of it's kind of cool that you can, as a user, moderate things that you see. I just like fundamentally have some issues with that. This is a space that's been developed by a company. We didn't make it. Like, we might be filling it in with our interactions and our content, but we didn't make the space. And I'm not saying that we aren't the ones that shouldn't moderate, especially for a neighborhood page. Someone that lives in my neighborhood probably is a good person, probably a pretty good candidate to be a mod in that space. You know, it'd be like if I brought someone over from California that had, let me pick a different state because we actually have someone, Terrence in California. Let me pick someone else. I was gonna say, like, if I picked a Californian to come and be a moderator on Nerd Union that had no.
Wait, we did that.
Like, if I had a friend in Alaska, not even a friend in Alaska, randomly picked someone from Alaska to moderate Nerd Union with no training, had no idea how the Nerd Union community works, and said, "All right, go to it." That wouldn't necessarily track. But in the same token, why should we be doing that free labor?
Yeah.
That doing the labor inside the community that you've created is one thing. So if I'll keep using Nerd Union. We have a Discord server. We have a couple mods in there. We don't have a ton of mods just because we haven't needed it. And interactions usually event-based, so people aren't in there talking all the time, but occasionally things get posted and so on and so forth. There's definitely Discord servers that are way more active with a lot of other things going on, so they probably need tons of mods. But in that case, Discord is being very clear to, like, hey, we just created a system and a server for you to do this. You are the one that is making that community. Ergo, we've given you all these mod tools that you can assign people and so forth. So that's how you. So that makes sense to me. That tracks. I'm like, cool, I got it. In the Facebook model, though, that's not exactly the same thing. Everything is in a public. It's almost like if you could watch a newspaper move as people were debating what that newspaper article has come out. Like, that's more of what that is. It's not a Discord server. It's a very public forum. And and you want everyone else to handle that for you. There's been a big, they've just absolved themselves of any responsibility to do that. Now, granted, from what I could tell in the article as well, it seems like a lot of these are happening in private messages. So some of the bullying that was occurring with friends or schoolmates being pricks and messages being very mean-spirited, or probably saying to some other
yes.
On there as well. So there's definitely that privacy aspect of Facebook definitely trying to, like, respect privacy and not necessarily get in people's messages like that. But I think that's why Tammy's focus on age verification is the big piece there. Because she's not really talking about messages or even the message boards or like groups and so on and so forth. She's just like, why did my daughter have access to this?
Yeah.
Even after I've done my darndest to delete the apps, restrict her access to it, you still let her get on the site. Yeah. So sometimes, go ahead. I know I talked for her a lot there.
No, you're good. It's really just making me think, like, it's making me draw a lot of comparisons between something that I have to deal with my own son. He's like 5, but like he likes playing Pokemon Go with me, and one of his other friends who's also around the same age likes to play Pokemon Go. So I had to build him I didn't have to. I chose to build him a Pokemon Go profile so he'd stop jacking mine up. And being honest. But in order to do that, I had to jump through so many hoops to be able to build him a profile on Nintendo for that, and specifically through the Pokemon Company. And it's not that he can't access and he can't use it, but I have access to like every single thing he does as a result of that. And it's not anything invasive per se. It's just like, hey, so-and-so added him as a friend. And it doesn't tell me like everything he's doing in the game. Like and I honestly could care less what Pokemon he isn't catching in there. But I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, if Nintendo, who is a company that's not necessarily known for all their tech stuff per se, like their software, can figure out ways to make like a parental connection to a profile and make it in a way that's functional, that somebody could create a profile, why can't Facebook do the same thing for kids who want to be on Facebook and have some form of verification to prove like this is someone's like child and whatnot? And Nintendo will make you do things like you got to update your stuff every once in a while. Like it's more often than I really want to deal with. I don't know. I feel like they've done a lot better job of handling that. So I'm like, Facebook, how have you not been able to pick up on this? And even with the stuff with like the private, and I get that some of this was in private messages and stuff like that. But you're telling me you don't have an AI system in private messaging that picks up on all that? Like, I get that that's intrusive, but also to a certain degree, after the number of events that have happened over the past 2 years, like, you really don't have an AI system in place about this? Like, already? Like, really?
And we're really, and to be clear, we're really just talking about until people are of an age where they should, not that you should have to handle abuse or, you know, just like pick your poison type of message that kind of come through your DMs. Like, not that you should have to be at an age to get that at all, right? But as you're developing, it's probably not the time to have the water hose of the internet in your DMs. Mm-hmm. Just putting that out there. Like, I didn't have to deal with that when I was a kid on young message boards. It's like, I think people keep thinking about how they interact with the internet, and I'm like, it's not like that anymore. You at least had to learn a certain amount of in-person respect for a person when you were in your school, right, or interacting with other people as you're growing up. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that is necessarily carried over to the internet well, because some of us have turned into assholes. So clearly it didn't work for everyone. But I would say generally, of our generation and older, and probably to some degree, some people younger than us, you just had to interact. You had to learn how to interact as a human being. Right. And then you figured out like, oh, I can't act like a jackass online. I just can't do it. Right. Now, again, also, you know, but for folks that have none of that context, that are blank slate, little people, little human beings, like this, we should not just care about this. Like, we need to do something. It shouldn't end with this lawsuit. And I know Facebook, it's been in the hot water on the Hill early this summer, but like, if we need to report and get back on like what were the findings of that, and what was the like what came of that, is any actual punitive or future actions actually come from that, I will definitely follow up, because this isn't good, and hopefully this won't be the last lawsuit. Or sorry,
will someone think of the
No, we said that twice this episode. Oh yeah, did you get to see the Pokemon first person shooter? Would you be opposed to Evan like just blowing up, just shooting Pokemon?
I mean, yeah, kind of. I'm not really down with that.
It's a children's game. They thought they could just put guns in the hands of children.
I mean, to be fair though, in the new game, you can straight up get mauled by a wild Pokemon. So there's that.
I mean, okay, but
I don't.
Sorry, sorry. Think of the children. This one's thinking about everyone. This next one is thinking about everyone. So
we're all someone's children.
There is a new bill being introduced by Senator Cory Booker, Representatives Ann Eshoo, and Jan Skorkowski. And what this bill would do, I'll go back to the meta photo. It aims to limit class protected categories of search data. So could an advertiser, if I decide, hey, I want to order enchilada, I order enchilada on Uber Eats, get that information like that, I looked it up on Google, so on and so forth. The next week they advertise, hey, do you want enchilada? Sure. It's not affecting that. So it's not affecting contextual search. Mm-hmm. If I look for a pair of loafers and I start getting advertisements for different pairs, like loafers, suits, whatever, it's not stopping that. What it is attempting to do is targeting of people per their race, per income stat. Although I have to double check on income status. It said class protected categories, so I thought income might be in that, but that's not what was listed in this report.
No, they mean like rogue, wizard, warlock, man. Come on.
Yes, that's what. So like your age, orientation, and things like that are trying to stop that from being something that search giants could collect and market to you based on. And a lot of privacy advocacy groups have come in support of this bill, and particularly DuckDuckGo, which is a very probably the most popular non-Google Bing search engine that helps protect your privacy as far as, hey, I can go look at a thing and I know that that's not going to spawn off a bunch of other, all of a sudden getting emails in my inbox about things that I didn't even sign up for, or getting seen that my ads had changed across banners and things that go across different websites. So, and different privacy advocacy groups have also jumped on board, like the Electronic Privacy Information Center, the Anti-Defamation League, and Accountable Tech and Common Sense Media. I think this would be I think it's probably one of the smartest bill. I got to reread it because, come on, people, why the bills always got to be, jeez Louise. They can get convoluted in government speak, but I think this is one of the smartest marriages of, we understand that data is important for what you do in marketing to people. We're not stupid. We obviously benefit from that too to some degree as we send out ad campaigns as to get reelected. And I think also we'd have to talk about ourselves is that as we launch ads on Facebook and stuff to promote our videos and get reported news and stuff like that, we do rely on information of what people like and so on and so forth. But I do think, given what's happened in the 2016 election, the targeted attacks that came from Russia and that Cambridge Analytica, you kind of go down the laundry list of things there. I think this marriage of we get that piece, but we're going to remove these categories. Like we're just not. These are no longer categories that you should be employed on anymore because of the danger of how people would use them and have used them. The track record is there of how people use them. This is democratically sponsored. This has been sponsored by Democrats in House and Senate. So we'd need to see if other Republicans would get on board with it. But this seems like a no-brainer. But every time I think that, but
like, not to get political, but let's get political here. Every time we think something should be an easy, simple solution, we all agree on it. It's never that simple.
Yeah. Can't have common sense about it. If you have common sense about it, it's not going to happen.
Man, common sense is like the biggest common oxymoron.
Mm-hmm.
No, but this makes me wonder. I was like, are they going to get rid of all those ads where I'll be talking to my wife about something and then I'll turn on my phone and it's right there and I'm like, Google?
Technically, I think that would fall under contextual advertising, so I don't think it would. That would be like you saying, like, "Hey, I want some chicken nuggets." And now I'm not saying that's not a privacy concern, so someone should definitely bring that up. But like, hey, when did we opt into that?
That's what I'm saying.
Service. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
I don't remember signing up for this.
But it's a little different than the way they've got this bill worded. So,
I mean, I'm all for like more privacy protection though, in that sense. Like, I think there's a certain balance you have to have between like protecting national safety and privacy, but like these are common sense, no-brainer things. Like, let's do that. Like, that's good. We should all be able to agree on that. And then, I don't know. It seems like the Republican platform would want to agree with like individual privacy, but I don't know.
I just feel like the business aims here might be what caused issues, or how Republicans themselves may want to use the data or information for targeted political ads. But to your point, though, privacy seems to be something that kind of cuts through the noise a little bit. So maybe that could get enough Republicans to be like, yeah, but I still don't like. I also hate that too. I don't like them doing it. Yeah.
It's like, do you really want them up in your business like that? Like, really? This is what somebody needs to do. They need to come up to all the folks who would be opposed to this, be like, all right, so we went and checked with Google, and we got all your records and found out you've been talking about. Be like, do you really want everybody knowing that? Be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
But that's just how I would tactic it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all of our big topics. Thank you for joining us. And what we're gonna close on out with. What's coming up this week on Nerd Union? Elder Millennial Indie Film Club. It's a mouthful, but hey,
I still can't believe you made that.
Hey, people liked it.
I know.
We got to get shirts. Oh yeah, shirts are coming. What the photo would be on the shirt, though, I don't know.
Giving you a platform was a mistake.
Yeah, you love me.
Yeah, I do.
Elder Millennial Film Club meets Friday night at 8 p.m. Central over on our Discord channel. We're going to be watching a indie classic from the early 2000s. That's the main focus of that club. Little Miss Sunshine. Really excited.
Good choice.
Yeah. As voted by you, the fans, in the film club. I've not seen this in a while, and I was thinking about a quote I want to use, my movie challenge quote I'm going to use that day. I want to talk about the history of the F word. Then there's a particular, if you've seen a movie, it's not really a vulgar movie, but there's one use of the F word that I think is just perfect. Like, if you're ever going to use it in a PG-13 movie, I was like, that's how it's done. There you go. That's it.
Yeah. But fair warning, if you do decide to do a history of the F word, you probably need to figure out the copyrights on that because Nicolas Cage already did it. For those of y'all who haven't seen that, there's like a history of curse words on Netflix, and some of it's hilarious and some of it's dumb, but it's worth it for the hilarious parts.
Hey. I'll report on what I want to report on.
That's true.
All right. Cool. What's next, Jerry?
Let's see what else we got going on this week. We got Taryn Bell. We'll have some more tech news and more this week with the rundown. And also our weekly wrap-up news show that covers everything else that happened throughout the midweek. It's really great. I think you should check it out. It's a great way to like check in and see, oh yeah, what else have I missed this week? So she does a really great job with that.
That seems like a good time to drop this announcement. We're gonna try to get you more State of the Nerd Union throughout the week. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be live as we do this show. Monday is the live show. That's when we were able to get together and do this. But if we get a big updates or we're able to put some other news stories together, we'll try to drop those throughout the week. It might be me, it might be Steve, it might be Jerry, it might be Taryn. Jump on real quick, throw out some of the big news topics that happened during the day, and push it out. So hopefully, be on the lookout for more supplemental State of the Nerd Union episodes throughout the week. And once we've done it for about a month, we'll probably know what the schedule should be like, whether it continue to just be sporadic when everything's happened, or if it's like, oh, these things continue to happen on these couple of days, and we'll try to advertise it like that. But cool. What's next? It's me. Still me. The Quorum. This Thursday we meet at 7 p.m. I know everything else has been 8 p.m., but we meet at 7 p.m. on Thursdays. We're going back through the Netflix Marvel shows, starting with Daredevil Season 1. We are up to episodes 7 through 9, so watch those first 3 episodes and then come join us as we discuss that on the Quorum. We don't stream it there. We just watch it on your own time whenever you have time, and we'll talk about it.
Good stuff. We want to give thanks to our Patreon supporters. We actually really genuinely do appreciate what you give to the site. It helps us be able to
because of you.
Yeah, it is because of you. No, really, but it is. So we really appreciate what you guys do. It lets us be able to continually keep doing this and putting out more content for you guys and just having fun with you guys on stream. So we want to thank Doug Schumann and Shelby Johnson for that right now. And I don't know, do we have anything else going on this week? Are you doing a throwback? What's your throwback for the week?
I didn't actually, because I just put it up there. People might see. I've got the original MMPR Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Zord up there, and shout out to my brother for giving me that. I was not really prepared for a throwback, but I think about playing Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, which is really solid. Just beat 'em up, side scrolling beat 'em fighter. Playing against a variety of Power Ranger characters. especially from the Power Rangers comic book series by Boom Studios. If you haven't read that, if the words Lord Draken mean nothing to you, you need to go read this series because it's stupid how good it is. And I don't even mean that like good for a Power Ranger series. No, like it's just it's good. It's dumb how good that is. So yeah, go read it. Go play Battle for the Grid. Battle for the Grid. It's not just, and you can play it on mobile, Switch, a variety of different consoles. Really fun.
Yeah. Also, fair warning: if you pick up a copy of the comic book Shattered Grid, don't make plans for the rest of your evening because you will not do anything else. Like, my cousin was sitting there talking about that one day, and he told me he picked up a copy of it, and then he like messaged our group chat for Smash Brothers like 5 hours later. He's like, I just read this whole thing at once. I just lost 5 hours of my life, and it was worth it.
It was worth it.
Yeah, it's one of the best like comic book stories I've ever seen. Like in general, comic book stories. It's phenomenal. As far as my weekly throwback goes, my son found out that Banjo-Kazooie is on the Switch today. So I've never actually played Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, I've never actually played it. So that's gonna be my throwback that I'm doing until Pokemon Arceus comes out this week. So.
Yeah, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, really solid platformers. N64 just had a lot of good platformers.
It did.
Yeah. And then I think people forget about, like, as much as Donkey Kong is like a Nintendo property, but Rare, like people just forget about Rare's interactions. Like they just had it, they had the pedigree of doing up the Donkey Kong series, and especially with that 3D transition of doing Donkey Kong on the N64. So then when it came to Banjo-Kazooie, like they were already ready. They're like, cool, we're gonna do our own little thing. It'd still be on a Nintendo console, but it's like specifically Rare. Like, yeah.
We also want to thank Lindy Fitness for the memes he posts on the page because we appreciate that. I'll be streaming Pokemon Arceus probably Saturday night, assuming my schedule works out for it. I'm gonna be on there though. Yeah, so if y'all can hop on there if you're curious about the new Pokemon game, whether you think it's gonna be trash or whether you think it's gonna be really good and you want to know before you get it, before you actually buy it. Hop on and hang out with me.
I'll probably be doing Halo on Monday night. We'll see.
Yeah.
Or not Monday night, sorry. Wednesday night. We'll see. And then next month we get Destiny's The Witch Queen.
Oh, that does come out.
Good. All right. So, hey, we try to end the show on a nerd moment of the week, and I failed the last couple of weeks of getting a link prepared and having it. I'll drop the link for you so you can join on your own, but I haven't really been able to play the video for you.
I mean, we could always spend some time talking about Bruno, though.
Hey, you came in late. No, I didn't mean okay. We already talked about Bruno. Bruno's got the number 4 spot in the Billboard. Maybe it'll go higher.
But it's number 1 in my heart.
It is number 1 in your. It is so good.
It still sucks.
But our nerd moment of the week. Some of you may have seen it. If you're following me on social media, you may have seen me post this. The Admiral, Edward James Olmos, Admiral Adama, singing at Starbuck. Katie Sackhoff's quickly becoming a nerd queen in her own right, from The Mandalorian, just a variety of projects, Star Wars, so on and so forth. But got married recently. This is a video she posted to her Instagram of him singing, and then eventually singing together on stage, like a minute long. So we will close out the show with this video. Everyone have a great rest of your week. Hopefully we'll see you on our other shows throughout the week, and enjoy your nerd moment of the week. Well, maybe.
Did it not go? How about we just post it to the Facebook page? I'm just giving options.
I'm just gonna try it again.
I mean, yeah. We always
It might.
There it is.
Aww.
That was such a weird collision of realities and like fictional events for me. Because like in my mind, I'm like watching this, I'm like, Adama is singing, and I'm like, this is gonna be like that moment when Saul wakes up from that one vision at the end of the beginning of that one season. And I'm like, no, don't need to associate that.
All right. Hope you all enjoyed that. We'll see you next week.
Bye.